also want to thank Brooke for those words. They were way too kind about me. But what is not as kind is the words that she spoke about you all, you legislators, you organizations, the White House, everybody that's got behind criminal justice reform, and activists just speaking about it, voting for it, rallying behind it. I want to thank you personally. Now I want to just speak a little bit about my story. In 1995, I was arrested for drug and gun violations, nonviolent offenses. I received a 35-year sentence. But prior to me receiving that 35-year sentence, when I was arrested in December, I was taken to a county jail in Tennessee. And I had a friend there who had already received a 5-year sentence and was leaving out to be taken to the federal prison that he was going to serve it in. And that friend left me some of his possessions. And in his possessions, there was some toothpaste, some deodorant, and a King James Bible. And when he left me the Bible, I was like, because we never spoke about God at the time. I didn't even believe in God because of the hardships that I had throughout life, and I was raised in a very verbal and physical abusive household. So when he left me the Bible as a friend, I took it. And then once he got transferred, I took it to the room, and shortly after that, I started reading it. And as I continued to read it from front to back, as it was just like a book, because that's all I looked at it was, as a book. During that time, like I stated, I didn't have any belief in God. So I just read it because books were scarce. And then as I started to read it, God started to say, okay, I didn't know it, but he knew it. He was like, well, the timing is right. So he started working on me. And shortly thereafter, I ended up surrendering my heart and life over to the Lord Jesus Christ. And then, from that point forward, everything just started to transform within me and about me. And therefore, when I went and was sentenced, I received Christ in February of 1996, and I was sentenced in December of 1996, and I was sentenced to 35 years, and I was like, wow, you know what I mean? That was a long sentence for a nonviolent drug offense. But I took God with me into the federal prison, and I did everything that I possibly could from that point to make sure that I bettered myself. And I did it on a personal level as well as for my daughter and my family members. And over the course of the time, I was able to be a mentor and help several inmates that were there. I worked as a GED tutor for 8 years. I worked in a law library as a law library clerk for about 6 or 7 years. And during that time frame, I was becoming more aware of the law, what was possible and what wasn't possible. And I was able to assist others that were being able to receive things from their attorneys as well as submit things to their attorneys about their case. And what took place in 2010, the sentencing guidelines changed that removed the disparity between the two drug types. I was originally arrested for crack cocaine. So once that took place, I filed a petition. And in 2016, Judge Kevin Sharp released me. And I was out for nearly 2 years, but the government successfully appealed that release. But while I was out on release, the judge asked the prosecution would he consider my rehabilitative efforts that I had achieved while incarcerated, as well as while I was released. While incarcerated for 21 and a half years, I didn't receive any disciplinary infractions. That reflected on my Christ-like walk. But also while I was out throughout those 2-year periods, I had a church home, I had purchased a truck, I was working every day, and I was volunteering my time at a place called the Little Pantry That Could. So therefore, once the news media got wind of that and then did my story and presented it to the media, it gained national attention because they were stating that I had done over 20 years on a nonviolent drug offense. I had been out successfully for 2 years, showing that I was being a productive member of society, working, paying taxes, and doing everything that I was supposed to do. But the judge ordered me to go back and do the remaining 10 years and allowed me to self-surrender. Now, prior to 1995, that self-surrender thing would have been like your opportunity to run. But since I was now saved, I knew I had to do what was right, and that's the reason on May 14th, I submitted myself to the United States Marshals and turned myself in. Unbeknownst to me, once I did that, the news cycle just took off with the story. And it became broadly known, and from that point, there was a Georgetown professor named Sean Hopwood who contacted me and said he wanted to take my case pro bono and present it to the president. As Brooke stated, there's a lot that I can say about this White House administration, and when it comes to criminal justice reform, that's spot on. My conversation with Brooke after meeting her in the White House with Jared Kushner and Jerron Smith, I was amazed. Now I see why she's drenched in policy here in Texas, so that's a conversation of its own. But anyway, once Sean Hotwood took my case and presented it to the White House seeking a clemency or a commutation of a sentence, I was just in limbo waiting on that to take place, but the First Step Act passed. Initially, the First Step Act had in it a lot of rehabilitative programs that allowed you to earn good time credit and reduce recidivism. So it initially didn't affect me. Then there was an amendment added that allowed the changes of 2010 sentencing guidelines to be made retroactive, which did directly affect me. And once the president signed it on December 18th, my public defenders filed a motion within the court on I received it January 1st, so I'm gonna say January 1st, and on January 3rd, I was released. And since that, thank you. Thank you, I appreciate it, thank you. Thank all of you on a higher level than you can even possibly imagine. But because I get long-winded, I'm gonna try to get it all in right quick. So after I was released, the president allowed, sent the invite to attend the State of the Union twice. The first time there was a government shutdown. The second time it actually took place and I was able to go. And once I went, it was like the reception that I received was overwhelming. Here it is that I had served over 20 years in federal prison. Here it is that my lifestyle prior to me being transformed said everything about you ain't got no business even looking at the White House. Now you're in the White House. So just the reception overall of the White House, their push for criminal justice reform, the fact that I've been back 3 times since then, and he's always reiterated where he's always stated his continued commitment for criminal justice reform. And as Brooke has stated when she was up here, we see that he's going forefront in it. He's allowed a Second Chance initiative to take place. There's a Fair Chance Act bill that allows government organizations, contractors, and employers to hire ex-incarcerated people. So we know that his heart is toward criminal justice reform. We know that Jared Kushner's heart is toward criminal justice reform. We definitely know that Brooke's heart is for reform overall, and we know that your hearts are as well. So I want to thank everybody for allowing me to be here today. I want to thank Lisa for inviting me. And God has been good in my life. Since then, I've been given a job by FAM to go around as a criminal justice fellow and speak with different governors and legislators throughout the United States about criminal justice reform. I've been able to share some of my ideas. I've been able to see some of them turned into some bills. Hopefully they'll go somewhere. But I just want to thank God for it because he's done amazingly beyond belief in my life for me from the start of my receiving him until the day standing before you people. And I just want to thank you for it.